Good day, ma'am. Today, we will be discussing what we've reviewed on the research Employees' Perception on Digitalization. These are the authors of this research. First, Aligado Jacqueline, Liluan Bernadette, Lubang Aravel, Reforma Roast, and with their thesis advisor, which is Ms. Hazel S. Espejo. This is the objective of their research. This study assessed the digital literacy of the employees in the local government unit of Biliran. In particular, the study sought to achieve the following objective. First, determine the demographic profile of the respondent as to their age, sex, highest educational attainment, designation, or position. Second, determine the digital literacy of the employees in terms of knowledge, accessibility, familiarity, capability, and readiness. Three, determine the significant predictors of employees' readiness to digital work. And the last one is to investigate the perception of the employees on digitalization in the organization. And these are the variables used in this research. In the dependent variable, they had only used one variable, which is the readiness. And in the independent variable, they utilize three variables, which is digital literacy, accessibility, familiarity, or capability.
This is the methodology of the study, research design. This research applied an explanatory sequential research design as the researchers were interested in following up the quantitative result with qualitative data. Research local. The research local of this study is the local government unit employees of LGU Biliran. The LGU is located on the southwestern part of the island directly in front of Calubian Leyte across the Biliran Strait. Research responded. LGU Biliran employees have a total of 146 employees. Out of 146 employees of LGU Biliran, 106 are the sample responded and the researchers themselves interview 15 selected employees. Next, research instrument. This study used researchers' modified survey questionnaires to get primary information or data from the employees in LGU Biliran as indicate in the areas for sampling. After the questionnaire was developed, a pretest was administered by the researchers themselves at the local government unit of Naval to determine the validity and reliability of the data and to ascertain the accuracy and effectiveness of the research instrument. This study also utilized researcher-made structured interview determined LGU Biliran employees' perception of digitalization.
This is the statistical treatment of data of the study. The researcher used a multiple regression analysis using the ANTER method to identify if digital literacy, accessibility, familiarity, or capability significantly influence the readiness of the employees for digital work. So this is the econometric model of the study. So uh, the dependent variable was the readiness of the employees in working digitally, and independent variables are the digital literacy, accessibility, familiarity, and capability. These independent variables were assured in the literature that somehow influence employees' readiness.
The findings of this study, as the result on digital literacy, revealed the respondents have above average literacy. Respondents reported that using digital platforms is much familiar, much capable, especially for materials or tools in digital work. The conclusion of this study, the research results showed that an increase in digital literacy, accessibility, familiarity, and capability opens up vast opportunities for employee growth, production output, labor efficiency, and organization productivity. As we review this research,
We've come up with this critique. The first critique from the methodology. The fact that the researchers themselves administered both the pretest and the structured interviews raises potential concerns about researcher bias. Researcher presence during data collection can influence responses, a phenomenon known as social desirability bias. To minimize this risk, methods such as using neutral third party interviewers or developing strict protocols for administrations are recommended.
So the next critique is from conclusion. So the lack of evidence for readiness for digital work. So although the studies for measure employees' readiness for digital work, the conclusion does not explicitly mention this. It would be helpful to reflect on employees' level of readiness, as this is a critical finding that could either support or challenge the optimism of the conclusion. If readiness was found to be lacking in certain areas, it would signal a need for further training or infrastructure improvements rather than simply claiming digital literacy leads to better productivity.
This is the another critic for conclusion basing on their objective. The study first objective is to determine the demographic profile of the respondents, age, sex, highest educational attainment, and position. However, the conclusion does not reflect whether these demographic factors had influence on the digital literacy readiness or perception of the digitalization. This, for us, the researcher must discuss, like for example, are younger employees more digitally literate or capable compared to older ones? Do higher educational levels show greater familiarity with digital tools? Because if they discuss this, it will surely highlight we will see the significance of this objective. It's they're lacking.
This is the last critique of this study. The conclusion misses a critical part of the study, which is to determine the significant predictors of employees' readiness to digital work. Predictors such as demographic factors or educational background might play an essential role in shaping digital literacy or readiness, but these are not addressed in the conclusion. Without acknowledging the predictive factor or how these relate to the employee's preparedness, the conclusion appears incomplete. That's all. Thank you.